Welcome back to Mindset Mastery Class with your professor, me, Laura Catella. I'm so happy that everybody is here. Today, we're going to talk about how to make more money as a service provider. And I set an ambitious goal for myself. It is my hope that within the next hour or so, you learn more about how to make more money as a service provider than you have learned in the past 10 years of your life so far. So I'm shooting for the stars. Hopefully we get pretty close. I'm just admitting some folks who just joined us. Welcome. A reminder in the chat, if I say something that hits, drop a fire emoji in the chat so that I know, and to hopefully cause me to not have to keep checking in and make sure that stuff is good and we keep the flow of the chat going. That is your reminder. Before I kick off into the material, I want to ask, and I really want to see answers, okay? Smash the keyboard. What type of services do you provide to folks? What type of services do you sell to people? Do you get them to invest in? So that I can tailor my examples on the fly to make the most relevant for the group. A couple copywriters, credit card payment services, funnels and copy, shadow mindset, inner wounded child coaching, awesome. Coaching, copy, credit card services, pet care, social media management. All right, fantastic. Landscape maintenance, love it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for saying that. Abandoned cart recovery, dope. Thank you, Diane, for saying that. What a beautiful, diverse array of services we provide to the world. Aren't we wonderful? Business and marketing strategist and copy. Thank you, Carolyn. Sweet. All worthwhile, needed, useful services. You need to understand that everything we have done so far, this is week 10. This is week 10 of Mindset Mastery Class with your professor, me, Laura Catella. And what we're talking about today stacks up on top of everything else that we have already discussed. Procrastination, self-doubt, wrestling with worthiness issues, why me? Shiny object syndrome, right? Feeling overwhelmed. If we don't have tools to work through all of those things, the tactics that I'm going to share today will not be incredibly useful to you. You know many tactics already. The question is, are you doing them? And when you do not, it tends to be because some of that other stuff, procrastination, self-doubt, fear of the unknown, lack of clarity, is getting in the way. How powerfully can you implement a tactic? And how consistent can you be with a tactic if that other stuff is in the way? If you feel like, well, it's all going to crash and burn anyway, or I'm going to end up back where I started anyway, the tactics are not useful in that case. That is why we have 9 previous weeks of material to help with that, so that when it comes time to test out a tactic, to try something new, to put yourself out there, we face less doubt, less fear, more confidence, more certainty. And so when it comes time to move forward, because you're all going to get action steps today, here is a helpful thinking mantra. You can tell yourself, I am moving forward to see where the blocks are, because the blocks will come up. But if you think I'm moving forward to be perfect, I'm moving forward to get this ideal result in exactly the way that I've planned, whenever the fuck that happens, never. You might not be taking the steps that are most powerful for you, and you might get stuck in not taking any steps at all, right? Who's experienced that before? But if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to start taking steps just to uncover where the blocks are, huge. Some of the pressure will be alleviated. You'll be able to take the steps. And when you hit a block, You won't feel like shit and go under the weighted blanket for a month. You'll instead say, oh, this was the point for me to find out where this block was. Okay, time to reckon with it and figure out what I'm going to do now that I'm facing the block. We don't predict the block, we face the block and then take action. Okay, now I'll move into what I promised today's class would be about. The 3 reasons why you are not making as much money in your service providing business as you would perhaps want to be. First of all, can I just say something? It's never going to feel like enough money, is it? Because no matter how much money you make, you hit that milestone number, right? That goal you had. What do you pretty much immediately want? More money. So it's funny as a marketer, right? The need will always be there, right? Because people will always want more money. It doesn't matter where you were at. I could say, I'm going to show you how to make more. And you'll say, great, I wanted more, which is par for the course. That's our human nature. And there's utility to that. It keeps us going. I find that most of the training out there on this type of material does not get into what we're going to get into today, especially for my copywriters out there, my social media managers out there. We're taught to apply for jobs, to cold pitch. I hate cold pitching. Now, if you've found that works great for you, I would encourage you to continue doing it. So this is not about being prescriptive and saying that my way is the way, but it's just types. So that ideal are never going to respond and propose. So very in your service-based business as you want. You want more. You are not feel like I'm, first of all, you feel like you are posting a lot. One time. No. Feel like you need help with my credit card, then so-and-so is my person. I need blank, so-and-so is my person. Most sophisticated buyers is not not a process-oriented goal means only you control the outcome. I will post every day. If I do not post today, I die. That is how seriously you can take it. I will post every day, period. Or if you need it to be 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever. Where do you post and what do you say? Let's take an inventory. I'm going to share my screen and give you guys the strategy to start doing this. Okay, can you guys see my screen with the little grid? This is from my notes today, which I will make available after class. This is from a program I'm rolling out called 2-week high ticket sprint, 2 weeks to closing your high ticket client, doubling your investment in the course. Let's start by taking a real look back at the data of what you have done and what has worked for you. Because when you're sitting in the moment and you're not looking back at the actual data and the actual evidence, we're just getting your feelings on things. Well, I feel like when I did that, it kind of worked. You'll be shocked because so many of our own biases come into play about how inaccurate your feelings might be. So I encourage everybody to create a very simple chart like this. You can do it in Google Docs, Google Sheets. You could handwrite it out wherever. What are all of your assets that are available to you? And these are not just your personal email list, your personal social media accounts and the followings there, right? Where your target market hangs out. So if you provide landscaping services, where are your local clientele hanging out? What is the next door community where they're all hanging out? What are the Facebook groups for people who live in that neighborhood? Where are they all hanging out? So those assets are available to you to be posting in. As you populate this sheet, you're creating, oh, here are the places I'm going to go post. So if your process-oriented goal is I'm going to post every day, it might be Monday, you post on your own Facebook account or your own Instagram account. Tuesday, you share a tip in the Facebook group. Wednesday, you do this and you do that. So even if right now your number is 0 for everything, which it's not, you're all here because you have some sort of asset or another, great. You've still found places to go out and post and start sharing your material. Commenting counts as well. So in those next door groups, in those local Facebook groups, people are going to be asking questions. Get in there and start commenting. And here is a rule for commenting that should help you finally get in and insert yourself into the conversation. You are not allowed to read the comments first, because you read the comments, you're going to see somebody say something similar to what you would have said. You're going to think, oh, they've already got 10 comments, they don't need mine. You're going to come up with all of these reasons not to contribute. So you are not allowed to read the comments first. It does not matter if somebody said something similar to you. If anything, it's confirmation, right? That you have a good point. So instead of reading comments first, you're going to jump in there and you're going to share your answer, or you're going to ask a deeper question. You're going to contribute in one way or another. So leaving comments can count towards your process-oriented goal of I need to contribute every day, and make it a box that you check off, not something that is vague in your head and easy to not do. You've got to check the box every day. Reason 2, and these are all going to stack, because now you might be like, Laura says I'm not posting enough, I'm not sharing enough publicly, I'm not planting my flag in the, if somebody needs help with shadow work, I am their person. Then your question might become, well, what do I talk about? What do I say, right? And that is reason 2. You are not generating as much as a service provider as you want to be. You have no positioning. You don't have the ground, the terrain in which you plant the flag. Many of you said, I provide copywriting services. What kind? For who? In what niches? What is the terrain in which you plant the flag? As you saw right here on this call, a lot of folks offer copywriting services, but nobody has your unique blend of experience, perspective, and desire to serve whatever specific markets it is that you want to serve. Nobody has that. But if you're not communicating that, how am I ever gonna know? Nobody has Katie's level of care and the reasons why Katie cares to take care of pets, take care of the home. Nobody has that same blend. But if Katie is not shouting it out from the rooftops regularly over and over again so that I finally get it, how will I ever know? Who are you the person for? What is the terrain that you're jamming that flag in, right? So it has to look like this. If somebody has blank, blank is their person. So one of my clients, for example, she helps women with pelvic floor issues. So her line is, if a new mom has pelvic floor issues, I am their girl. Brianna is their person, right? If somebody markets to women, Whitney Pursuto is their girl. This is what we've worked on together, and she's planting that flag, and she's already getting incredible interest. Hey, Whitney, I made a deal with Whitney. I don't know how much I want to reveal, but I was like, Whitney, would you do everything I say to generate X in the next 7 days? And she's like, yes. And we're already halfway there. Just by her following this process. Defined the terrain, planted the flag. And now everything you post, because Laura tells me to post more, right? Everything you post is now filtered through, am I defining the terrain and am I planting the flag? So if you market to women, Whitney is your girl. If I process payments, Ryan is my guy. Everything is on the chain to that. So what is your sentence? If somebody blank, you are their person. And that can change over time, okay? None of this is set in stone, and you don't have to be afraid of, I'm putting myself in a box forever. You can put yourself in a box for a while, though, so that your flag is planted, your audience has their teeth sunk into what you provide for them, and they know if I need blank, I go to you. You are the person for that. You could also have more than one. For my multi-passionate folks who might be worried, well, I like to do this and I like to do that. What are your top 3 then? If somebody is blank, I am their person. What are your top 3? Because being multi-passionate is not an excuse to not plant a flag. You still need to plant the flag in the terrains that you're interested in. It's all to give the audience and the market clarity and understanding of where to go when I have that problem. And the answer should be you. Another question that might be helpful for you to define this would be, what would you write a book about? Not that you have to write a book, though it might be fun. What would you write a book about? So now Whitney's working on her book about how to market to women. She's developed a whole framework around it. So if you answer that question, it might help you define the terrain and plant the flag. Matt said, if someone is scared of feeling like an asshole speaking on stage, I'm their guy. That's great. That is great. You know how much content you could generate around that? Why would somebody feel scared of feeling like an asshole? What does that mean? Right? Like a know-it-all, a show-off? Or are they afraid that they're going to get nervous and pass out? These are all discrete, different things you can speak to. And your content can exist in a variety of ways, right? It could be a short little nugget. People love those. It could be a thought out post. It could be a video that you share. There's no limits except for, does it do these 2 things? Does it define the terrain and plant the flag? If I need help with this, Matt is my guy. What would he write a book about? You're giving the audience something to sink their teeth into. Again, you can look backwards into your history to find data points. You don't have to exclusively go with, well, I think it's this, right? What have people come to you before? What have people said, oh man, thank you. you helped me with blank. And did you enjoy that? This may be part of the terrain that you're sticking your flag into. The beauty of looking back at history is you find little things to create leverage. That is where leverage comes from. But when we don't do this, it's remarkable. How many of you can probably remember some example of, I did this thing and it worked. It got me a client, or it got me a lot of interest. People asked me about it. I felt good doing it. And then if I asked you, are you still doing that? You would say no. I did this thing, it worked. Yeah, so we kick it the fuck out the door, right? When we're just up to our normal default states, we actually do the opposite of what is in our best interest a lot of the time. So when you're looking back at the data and you're filling out something similar to the grid that I showed you a second ago, we are reversing that. We're no longer going to kick out the door the things that have worked. We're going to revisit that. We're going to double down on them. And that is how you create leverage. Leverage is normally left as this sort of abstraction. No, you could go find it, tap into it, and actually use it for leverage. So where did your last one client come from? Where did your favorite client ever come from? What was the terrain? What was your flag? How do you keep defining it and planting it? If one of your concerns that may pop up when I say this is, well, I'm not expert enough on any one specific thing. Now that might not come up for any of you, which would be great if it didn't. But if it did, well, I'm not really like an expert enough on this thing to call it my terrain and put my flag in it. That ain't no kind of excuse. That ain't no kind of excuse. Enough already. If you don't feel like an expert enough in that one thing, go get a book. Go read a book on it. Go take a course on Coursera or Udemy. Go watch 10 hours of YouTube videos, good ones, on the thing so that you feel more like enough of an expert in it to plant the flag. No excuses. So in Whitney's case, Whitney had her own blossoming methodology, right? Over how to market to women. What are the unique, important features or messaging or positioning points that resonate more with women than they do with men? That was budding for her. She went on to research it more deeply, and she's got deeper psychological studies that prove her point, very cool historical anecdotes to prove that point, and other key hot buttons for women that really resonate to women. She just went ahead and researched it some more. So if you don't yet feel like an expert enough, what do you need to research more in order to feel expert enough? How can you start to test that out in the content you create? How do you start speaking to it? There are a lot of ways. You could go to Reddit, make a post to that audience about that terrain. See how much activity you get on it. You're not selling them anything. There are no concerns over you jumping into what might be a new audience and just selling them some stuff. Just go teach on the terrain, putting your flag in it. Start a Twitter thread on it. See how much it hits. See if it resonates. See if people say thank you. You could do a $5 Facebook ad. No CTA. $5 Facebook ad. You teaching the thing. No CTA. See what happens. See if people start following you, friend requesting you. $5 a day, 7 days, $35. You will feel so much more confident in your expertise on the thing, on the terrain, and on the flag. You will start getting feedback. Now you're culling all of your material to fix reason one. You don't post enough. You are not present enough. You are not loud enough. So everything we're doing in part 2 is fueling part 1. This making sense so far? Good. And it's a beautiful ongoing pursuit. It's beautiful ongoing work. No longer is it you just create one offering for one thing. All right, you get some clients, you service them, a month or two passes. Now you go back out again and you create another offer for another thing. That might be effective. It might get you some clients, but it's not building this brand presence. It's not building this authority. But once you know what your terrain and the flag that you're planting is, and you have the process-oriented goal of, I'm going to post every day, I'm going to cycle between these groups, my own personal places, leaving comments, asking deeper questions, it's all on that same path. So every piece of it serves the other, and you become the person. How do you be the person for the thing? Which leads us to reason number 3. Most people are not creating the revenue they want to create as a service provider. Reason number 3, you have no clear offer. With no positioning and no consistent creation of content, you've got no clear offer. What is your clear signature offer? Who here has a rate sheet? Perhaps my landscaper has a rate sheet because that type of work really requires that you have a rate sheet. But for my coaches and my copywriters, yeah, Katie's work too. Katie's work requires a rate sheet. But when you're accustomed to getting clients by going on a discovery call and they kind of let you know what they need and you tailor a package to them, that's all fantastic. But what it has done is left you with no base packages, right? And so every single time you create a package, you feel like you have to reinvent the wheel. And then you end up asking people, what do I charge? What do I charge for a sales letter? What do I charge for an email? Somebody asks me this, how do I respond? I don't know. What do you charge? Don't you already know? Don't you already have a base amount of what you're going to charge for X, right? What is your minimum rate for a long form sales letter? What is it? So you need a rate sheet so that, again, all of those content pieces, all of your positioning pieces are moving to the rate sheet. Alongside the rate sheet, what might be your signature offering? So perhaps if you're somebody like Whitney, gangster at Facebook ads targeting women. So her signature offer is a package of 10 Facebook ads deploying all of the psychological hot buttons that really get a woman to buy, delivered to you every month. And that folds in, she looks at the data, she finds opportunities to beat your controls, so on and so forth. But that is the sink your teeth into, flag in the terrain, signature offer that all of Whitney's new content works to send people to that offer. Now, might one of Whitney's prospects need something a little bit different? YouTube ads, a lander? Sure. But she has the benchmark. She has the signature offer. And so we have a clear offer framework that I'm going to show you as well. Really simple stuff that you could go ahead and fully swipe. It looks something like this. Can you guys see my document up here? Okay, good. I see some nods. Attention blank. If I offered you blank, without blank, would you take me up on it? You can mention past results. You can mention that this is something you're doing in beta for only X amount of people. I'll get into those details in a second. You can mention a guarantee, any combination, but it's a short paragraph that adds some context to what you're offering, right? Are you in? DM me blank. This is it. Now you've been posting regularly. You have your terrain and the flag. So when you come out and occasionally make a clean offer, it's just another piece that beautifully fits into the puzzle and that makes perfect sense. So here's an example of one that I did at the end of 2021. And it was insanely easy to close these coaching clients for me. So here's what I did. Attention copywriters, if I offered a bulletproof way to increase your rates 2 to 3x as we move into 2022 without needing another big win or cold soliciting even a single prospect, and with complete confidence, clarity, and certainty that you'll close premium clients, would you take me up on that? Here's my proof. Over the past 6 months, I've directly helped 14 writers do this. Here are some examples. So are you next? DM me Dream Copy to learn more. All of you have these, right? But are you writing down the story of each and every client you serve? If not, I highly encourage you to do so. It's part of that looking backwards at the data, right? So-and-so started working with Lynn and they needed X. In an X amount of time, they achieved blah, blah, blah. You need that short little summary for each and every client that you have served. So that when it comes time, that fuels everything, right? Because you could start telling some of that story. It doesn't have to be specific. You can maintain the privacy of the client, right? But you start telling that story, or you share a piece of the framework that you helped that client with, part of your process. That's all part of the content that you're sharing each and every day. Then when it comes time to make your offering, you share that result, right? Or you have your beta program. Like if Whitney is interested in like, well, I'm curious about applying my ninja skills on marketing to women for Facebook ads. So I'm going to say, this is a beta offering. I'm taking only 10 people for this offering to get this package of Facebook ads. Are you one of them? DM me blank. And then let's go. And you could consider including some sort of gangbusters guarantee there. Notice I didn't. You don't always have to, but to help your confidence in delivering the result, what might be an outcome that you guarantee? Because when you say to somebody, I'm going to guarantee that we save X on your merchant processing, right? Now you are going to be so much more bold in what you give to those people and what you make them do, so that you have the highest probability possible of promising and delivering on that guarantee, right? So if I were to say, I guarantee that you're going to double your investment in me if you're a coach or a freelancer, and you're going to get enough clients to double your investment with me in 30 days. Now I'm leaving it all on the table for them, right? Now I'm like, you have to do this. You must do this. This is the exact thing that you will do at that time. So they are way more likely to get the results because I'm putting my private parts on the table and I'm saying that I guarantee it. Now, of course, they have to do the work, right? I wish I could deliver the closed client and the signed agreement, right? And the money to them, but we can't. That requires that they do the work. So how do you possibly create a drool-worthy guarantee like this? They have to check off the box every day that they do the work. And in something like a Google Sheet, here's my example for the 2 weeks of high ticket I'm building out. They have to reflect quickly, short little summary on their experience completing the action step. They have to tick the box that says they did it, and they have to link to whatever that output is, right? So if they're filling the chart that I showed you earlier as an example, they have to link to that in this tracker. And because it is live and online in a Google Sheet, they can't fake it. They cannot fake it. So this is how you get them to do the work in order to live up to the guarantee. And in the odd case, right, because things happen, where they do all the work, but they don't get that outcome, the guarantee could look something like, I'll work with you until you get it, or I'll refund you, right? Or both, whatever. And because the beauty of launching something in beta, one, it's built in scarcity, right? Limitation in number. And two, you are going to learn, right? You are going to learn. So if I learn with my beta folks, everybody sort of stumbles on day 7. I know how to iterate and modify day 7 so that going forward, hopefully people don't stumble on day 7. And there's always going to be a section of the market who wants what is in beta, those early adopters who want the edge. And another beautiful part of launching something in beta is I'm going to be hands-on. I am more hands-on with the folks in beta because the whole idea is to establish a proof of concept in beta that we can roll out at a larger scale that doesn't require me to be so hands-on. This is really powerful for my coaches in the audience, right? I'm taking 10 people on for this program. I will guarantee your success or work with you until you get it, but you got to do your part or else that guarantee is null and void, right? And here is how you can get them to track that and not fake it. And it's sort of funny because obviously the more they actually do the work, the more likely they are to get the result. So by creating a guarantee like this, you're just raising the caliber of the entire environment so that people are more likely to get the result that you promised them. Does that make sense? And they're not able to just write an email saying, yeah, no, I really swear I did everything. You have a tracker. They're able to prove it. So just brainstorm ways that creating a guarantee like that might be possible for you. For my copywriters, it's a little bit more challenging, right? Because you can deliver work and there's so many other variables that are not entirely in your control. But it's not impossible. It could be, hey, I deliver you the work. You do your part, right? You get it online within 2 weeks after me delivering it to you. You send 1,000 clicks of targeted traffic, right? Traffic that is of the type you told me you were going to get, right? If they said, well, we're going to email it to our list, which is warm traffic, previous buyers. They do that. And it doesn't convert at X, 1%, 1.5%. I will revise it until it does, right? How much more powerful do you feel as a copywriter in that scenario? Don't you feel more comfortable charging a premium price point for that? Your client still has to go in and do their share of the work. So you're alleviating a lot of the risk. The mistake some copywriters will make is, I guarantee it's going to convert at 2%, but they don't require the client to do the steps, right? They don't require the client to prove, yeah, we're sending good targeted traffic to it. And then, oh my God, look at this. Boom. My promise to Whitney just got fulfilled. Bam. I promised her 3K in 7 days and we did it. I was like, will you follow every step I say? And that was me living out this process so I can talk to you about it today. Because by me saying, Whitney, I promise you this outcome, now I'm in Whitney's DMs at like midnight. And I'm like, Whitney, here's what you're going to post tomorrow. Here's exactly how you're going to say it. Here's the image you're going to use, right? And so if anybody else is interested in that, I am launching a beta program for it. I have no sign up sheet. I have nothing. You just got to DM me so I know to come to you first. It'll be 10 people. Well, it doesn't get much better than that because I promised to Whitney and she did the steps. Of course, I can't live up to the guarantee if the other party doesn't do the steps. All right. So that's a lot for you to play with and explore. But remember some of our guiding principles that we have as a group here. Keep it to what's realistic and attainable for you, right? Because our minds so often want to go and swing the pendulum too far in that other direction. So you might hear something like, see, Whitney hasn't even finished all the steps. So that's a good point too. So I promised Whitney X amount of income in 7 days. That's not going to be the promise I make at scale. 7 days is a short amount of time, right? Let's keep some time on our side. But if I promise that same outcome in 30 days, now people have a couple of days to screw off, get tired, not do the thing. So stretch out the timeline a little bit so it benefits you. Lower, if you're going to make a monetary claim or promise, drop that down a little bit, right? So it becomes more achievable. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that for us with the group, my darling Whitney. So you've made some sort of clear offer, right? That has been backed up and supported by the content you're creating, the terrain, and the flag. Now, be prepared, right? Because some folks will come into your DMs with whatever that little prompt, that little phrase you told them to come into your DMs with. So what do you do in that case? How are you prepared and ready to go? Have the link to sign up ready and done. Because what the mistake folks will make is, okay, do you want to get on a call? Some people are ready to buy right then and there. One of Whitney's people was right off the link. They're sold. So as an option, just give them the link. Here's the link to buy. Here's the link to sign up for the program. Here's the link to order, whatever. What is the least resistance as possible? Create that for them. Ready to go? Here's the link. Boom. Just saved yourself a 30-minute phone call where you feel like you have to sell somebody something. There will always be a section of the market who does not want to bother with that. They just want to sign up. Make that a possibility for them. Now, there will also be folks who want a little bit more information, who want to talk with you one-on-one, right? Who want to gain more understanding. Totally cool. You can also have your 15-minute Calendly or book a call, whatever link ready to go. Here's the link to sign up. If you would like to have a 15-minute discussion so I can answer any questions, here's that. And then the third, if they don't want to get on a call, but they would rather just chat in the DMs, okay, how are you going to create that option for them? Otherwise, let me know what questions you have and I'll answer them. So now they have 3 choices, no more than 3. Another way you could do this, and now I'm sort of getting into the micro of the tactics, but it might be helpful, right? The way that I would probably do it most of the time, here's the link. Here's the link to go buy. I wait a few hours, right? I make sure they read it. If they read it and they don't buy and they don't respond, then me, or if you have somebody on your team who is a setter or closer or virtual assistant who handles this for you, they can reply and say, what questions do you have? Tell me the questions you have so that I can answer them, right? If they don't respond to that, you could offer them the link to a call, whatever, right? But it's all about first, path of least resistance. Okay, this person probably needs a little bit more information. Let's chat with them some more. What ways am I going to do that? Then for people who have not moved forward, let them know that you're going to withdraw the offer. Now, this falls under my main overarching point, okay? Private parts on the table level of conviction, right? You need complete conviction in your ability to accomplish the outcome, right? Because if you don't have that, how is your buyer going to have that? It starts with you. If that conviction is not there, what do you need to modify so that you have it, right? Perhaps the outcome that you're trying to promise is too grand. Perhaps you're making it too universal. If you're saying everybody could get the result, that's not fucking true. Only people who are in a certain position right now and who are ready to do whatever work is required are able to get the result. So you only want those people. And if you get hit up by folks who are not them, you have options, right? You say, hey, consume more of my free material, right? Because at this point, you're posting every day, you're putting out free material, you're creating your own frameworks. Tell them that is the better move for them right now. Because for whatever reason, you're not feeling convinced that you could deliver them the result. So don't screw yourself by promising them you're going to deliver them the result anyway. Don't do that. And that might drum up, oh my God, Laura, but am I turning away a potential client? Like maybe not though. The most likely scenario is that person was not going to become your client anyway. Because if you don't have conviction, they don't have conviction. But even if you do turn away a potentially ill-fit client, fantastic. How badass of you. That is a level up. That is a level up. You are turning away wrong fit people. Aristotle said, nature hates a vacuum. The right fit will come in to fill the space. And we can always modify. If you find, damn, Laura, but I'm only getting ill-fit people, okay, then we got to modify the offering and the messaging so that those right fit people start coming your way. But again, don't predict the problem. Act. Face the problem. Then we modify. All right. So you need private parts on the table, conviction. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I could get Whitney that result. Right. And when I launched this to 10 other people in beta where I'm that hands-on as I was with Whitney, I am only going to choose people where I am that convinced that I can get them the result. So you need to sit with that for a moment and figure out, okay, where does that person need to be, right? What do they have to be willing to do? What do they already need to have so that I can be fully convinced in my ability to get them the result? That gives you clarity and it's more nuggets of marketing material, right? So now when you create those posts and you could say to the person who has blank, to the person who is ready to blank, for the person who is willing to do blank to get blank, I am vulva on the table convinced that if you do what I say, you will get that outcome. Making sense? Good. Because when that is the case, and if people DM you and they're not responding, or they say, you send them the link, they say, oh yeah, I'm going to do it, but then they don't, right? A day or two passes and they don't, you can push with conviction because you know if they step up and sign up with you, you can deliver them the result. So now you should have way less difficulty in nudging them and saying, I want you to get this thing because I know I can deliver you the result. Now, nudging doesn't have to feel so, oh, I'm nagging them, I'm pushy, I just want the sale. No. And I will say this to my leads too. You're seeing an example of how I hold you accountable. If you think I'm pushy now, wait until you have a goal that you want to meet. I will be even more obnoxious in your DMs so that you meet the goal. For my copywriters, you do the same damn thing. If you think I'm pushy now, wait till you see my messaging for your prospects. Wait, because you have the conviction. And because you have the conviction, you can withdraw the offer for those who are not ready without the ego sting, right? Here's some language for it. So they say they're going to do it. They say they're going to sign up, and then they don't. First, you give the other nudges, right? I want you in this. I know I can deliver you the result. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? And they still don't do it. Hey, it seems like you've got some resistance to this. Let me know what questions you have. What questions do you have, right? One more chance for them to get their questions answered. If I don't hear from you in 24 hours, I withdraw this because it's about being decisive, right? You could decide no. That's fine. But you have to make the decision. They cannot leave you on the fence waiting for them, right? It's poor use of your energy. And if they're deciding no, remember, that is okay. Don't make it about you and your ego. Remember, the other party is a fully empowered human who is going to make the decision they feel is best for them in that exact moment in time. And you respect that, but you're withdrawing the offer. Hey, I sent you resistance, totally cool. I'm pulling this in 24 hours, whatever. You are freed up now for the folks who are not indecisive and who are not decidedly a no, right? Create the vacuum so that it gets filled with those right fit folks. And because you have conviction, right? It is not, you don't feel the ego ding, right? They're saying no to me, right? Don't make it about you. They're not saying no to you. They just in this moment of time don't feel ready yet. That's totally okay. That's the position the majority is going to be in, right? Now, you have been defining the terrain. You have been planting the flag. So you're not going anywhere, right? You're not going anywhere. I say this to people too. Hey, I'm not going anywhere. Might the program fill up, enrollment be full and then closed? Yes. Will the price go up? Yes. But the opportunity to work with me is not disappearing forever, right? I'm not going to be distracted and onto something else and shilling something else in a few months. I will be here, but the details of the opportunity will change, sure, because that's par for the course. So, conviction. Your conviction is the backbone to all of this. And if you're lacking conviction, remember, what do you need in order to get it? How could we change that so that you become convinced? Do you care? Do you care that your people are successful in working with you? Yes, that's a good reason to have conviction. Remember that. Like in my coaching, I don't say that I'm the be all and end all and I have every single answer under the sun, right? I'm a human. But what I do know is I care a lot. And that gives me conviction. Nobody fucking cares more than me. Nobody. When it comes to this stuff, no. And that gives me conviction. I am not going anywhere. Because at the end of the day, that is what most people want before they work with you. They don't expect you to be perfect and to have every single answer, but they want to know that you care and that you will not abandon them. So will your client fuck up? Yes. People fuck up all the time. Will your client fuck up? Yes. How do you let them know that in working with you, they're going to be okay, even when they fuck up? It's not about trying to promise no fuck ups will ever happen. That's not believable. So when you look back at other clients you've served and you've helped, what have the stumbling blocks been, right? Where have they misstepped before? Where were things challenging before? You can talk about that and how you stayed the course with them so that other people build that trust and that understanding. Do you care? Yes. Good reason to have conviction. Will you go hard for them? Yes. Good reason to have conviction. This is why accountability is so powerful, right? Because if you invest in a personal trainer, right? One, you're making the investment. You don't want your investment to go to waste. So you're more likely to do the work because you're making that investment. But it's also like, shit, if you got a good personal trainer, right, who believes in you and who cares, you might feel like, well, shit, I'm kind of worried I might not get the outcome, but my trainer really believes in me. So I guess I just got to go ahead and do the step because they believe in me. And that's part of what I create in my own work too, right? People who work with me might still feel afraid to post. They might still feel afraid of rejection, crickets, and hate. I get it. But damn, Laura really believes in me. So I guess I'm going to do it anyway. I guess I'm going to do it anyway. That is the power of that accountability. If you don't have that accountability and you feel the fear, it becomes so much easier for you to not do the thing out of fear. But if in any way you could be the person who they are accountable to, it bypasses that fear. Well, shit, right? I promised Carolyn I would get this sales letter online. So I'm going to do it fucking anyway. So just by holding your clients accountable, you are helping them get the result and you're making it easier for them to get the result. You are bypassing some of their fear. And remember, if they followed each and everything that you say, should they get the result most of the time? And if the answer is yes, you can have that conviction. And it's not about 100% of the time because that's simply not realistic. But should they get the result most of the time? If the answer is yes, you should have your conviction. And for the odd outlying cases where, damn, they followed every single step and they didn't get the outcome. Okay, because you care and because you'll go hard for them, you can still maintain conviction. That's where the I'll work with you until you get it comes into play. But the vast majority of time, you're going to find they didn't get the result because they didn't do the work, right? Then they get to go back, see which steps they didn't do, go ahead, do them, and then get the outcome. That's what's going to happen the vast majority of the time. Let me look at the chat real quick. Steve, if it weren't for marketers being very consistent with me over the years, it's difficult to make progress without their persistence, really. Yeah, it's all about sticking with it. You're not going anywhere. You just made me think getting laid off scared me, I think, kind of want to be self-accountable, and apparently it ain't working. Yeah, that's why being accountable to somebody else could be so powerful. So as an example, as a simple example of how you could do this, we talked about the process-oriented goal. I'm going to post every day or 3 times a week or whatever. And we put it in a Google sheet, a live sheet that you cannot fake. Okay, who else can you share that Google sheet with? So you're both going in together. They're going to see when you don't do it. So now you're accountable to somebody else other than just you. And that's where we have 9 weeks of other material to help get you through the blocks that will come your way as you try to implement this process. Can we see this Google sheet? Let me think. Do I have an example? I have a private example for one of my groups, but I'll show you really fast how you would create one in real time. Here, let me share my screen. It could be as simple as this. So let's say it's daily posting, right? You say like date, post, you could link to it, done, and if there are any takeaways, like if you get some DMs, I would say 3 people DM me from this, or a lot of engagement, whatever. And so for the done, I would just select a whole bunch of these and then hit insert checkbox, right? So that we get to check that it's done. And then I would share it with a friend or a full-on accountability group. So you just say anybody with link, editor, share that with them. And so they're either watching you do it, making sure you do the thing, or, you could say this is, let's insert one above. And we'll say this is Laura's, right? And then you could go over here and say, here's one for Carolyn. And we just copy everything over. And then so we're sharing the sheet together. And so Carolyn has her section and I have mine. I like everything in one place because then I see it all, but you could also do a sheet for each person. Got the Loom thing blocking me. So you would add a sheet down below is another option. And you would say that sheet is Laura, that sheet is Carolyn, so on and so forth. But generally I like to see everything in one place. Yeah, Whitney just set this up with one other person. And you have the community here. You have the community here. There are people who would love to do this with you here. In the Facebook group, here on this call. And it would be a beautiful display of leadership if you were the one who was like, all right, I'm setting up an accountability sheet. Who's with me? Come in and join me. And that's that. Those are the 3 things. Those are the 3 things you have got to do. Got to do it. Start doing it. You might encounter a block. Great, right? You're moving forward in order to encounter the block. Stop trying to predict the block. Enough. When we encounter the block, that's great fucking news. We have information now. Fantastic. All right. I love you guys so, so, so much. As always, thank you for being a part of my favorite hour of the week. Remember, if anybody is interested in doing this beta 30-day program with me, just DM me so I have your information for when it rolls out. Otherwise, I will see you same time, same place next week. I love you so much. You're the best. You're one of one. Talk soon.